The Legend of Zelda series has been hiding permanently missable items in its games for nearly 40 years. Some are weapons you actually need, others are collectibles that will haunt your save file until the end of time. Today, I'm breaking down every single one of them, starting with one that's almost adorable and how much pain it causes. Nintendo Gallery. The Wind Waker has 134 figurines you can collect by bringing pictographs to the sculptor Karloff on Windfall Island. Mistaking a photo of certain characters or bosses before they disappear from the story, and those figurines are gone forever. Your reward for collecting all 134 is a pictograph of the developers displayed in the gallery. That's it, a picture. Here's the thing, several of these figurines require color pictographs of bosses and story characters that only appear once in the entire game. You fight the boss, you're focused on not dying, you forget to pull out your picto box, and congratulations, your save file is now permanently incomplete. The worst offender is Kogoli, a Rito character you can only photograph during a narrow window on Dragon Roost Island. Most players walk right past him. Miss that window and no amount of backtracking saves you. He's just gone. The irony is genuinely beautiful. The stakes are zero. You're losing a tiny statue in a gallery nobody visits. But completionists don't operate on logic. They operate on the quiet knowledge that somewhere in their save file, a number reads 133 out of 134, and that's enough to ruin a whole playthrough. But if a figurine gallery is keeping you up at night, wait until you hear about Uku's letters. Uku's letters. Staying in Twilight Princess because apparently this game hates you. Understanding what's happening. Uku, the weird, chicken-looking NPC that nobody asked for, is one of the strangest characters in Zelda history. She's a member of an ancient sky race called the Uka, and her entire purpose is to let you warp out of dungeons and back in again. Basically, a walking fast travel point with a face only a mother could love. Sounds simple enough. It's not. Uku appears inside every single dungeon, but she's hidden in a random pot. You have to smash the right one to find her, and her location changes per dungeon. Miss her, you lose access to warping for that entire dungeon. No hints, no glowing indicators, just you and 50 identical pots. But here's where it gets genuinely ridiculous. Uku has a son, Uku Jr., a tiny floating head that acts as your return ticket back into the dungeon after warping out. You use Uku to leave, and then you use her horrifying infant child to come back. Nintendo looked at this system and said, yeah, the baby is the recall button. I don't know what to tell you. And the game never properly explains what the Uka actually are or why Ukko looks like a human head glued onto a chicken body. The lore is scattered across throwaway NPC lines that most players sprint past. So Nintendo made their Sky Civilization's representative a nightmare creature hiding in pottery, then gave you her baby as a teleportation device. Cool, that's also a thing that happened. But if you think Twilight Princess is done punishing you, wait until you hear about an item you can lock yourself out of by simply spending your money wrong. The Hawkeye. This one doesn't hide behind a puzzle. It doesn't require a secret sequence or a timed event. It's sitting right there in a shop, waiting for you to buy it, and most players walk right past it without a second thought. The Hawkeye is a purchasable item from Malomart in Kakariko Village in Twilight Princess. It costs 100 rupees. It functions as a zooming scope that you can combine with your bow to snipe distant enemies with pinpoint accuracy, and it is one of the most quietly useful items in the entire game. No quest hands it to you. No tutorial explains what it does. No NPC says, hey, maybe grab this. You either notice it on the shop shelf and buy it, or you spend the entire game never knowing it existed. Here's the thing. The Hawkeye turns your bow into a first-person sniper rifle. You can pick off enemies from absurd distances, hit weak points you'd never reach otherwise, and trivialize encounters that were designed to be tense. Without it, you're just guessing with arrows and hoping for the best. With it, you're a surgical instrument of destruction, and it costs 100 rupees. That's nothing. Your early wallet holds 300. The worst part? Most players don't realize it exists until they're deep into their playthrough, struggling with long-range combat, wondering why the bow feels so imprecise. Then they Google it. Then they discover they've been playing on hard mode since hour 3 because they didn't browse a shop carefully enough. No boss fight, no hidden dungeon, just a shop item you didn't notice, which is, not ideal. But if you think missing a game-changing upgrade because you didn't window shop is bad, wait until you hear about an upgrade in Ocarina of Time that most players don't even know exists. The Deku Nut upgrade. Now this one's going to bother some of you because it technically shouldn't exist. In Ocarina of Time, there are 2 upgrades that bump your Deku Nut carrying capacity from 20 to 30, and then from 30 to 40. Sounds simple enough, but the way you actually get one of them involves a sequence-breaking glitch, reverse bottle manipulation, and a window of opportunity that slams shut the moment you complete the Forest Temple. Here's the thing. Once Saria enters the Sacred Forest Meadow for story purposes, the glitch becomes permanently impossible to execute. Not difficult, not finicky, impossible. Your Deku Nutcap gets stuck 1 upgrade short for the rest of your playthrough, and there is 0 in-game path to fix it. Now, does a glitch-based upgrade count as a real missable? That's the question, and honestly, I don't know what to tell you. The speedrunning community treats this as gospel. They've tested it across every single version of Ocarina of Time, the 1998 original, the GameCube port, the 3DS remake, and the glitch persists in all of them. Nearly 30 years, every re-release, never patched. Nintendo apparently just never noticed it, which is either impressive oversight or proof that nobody at Nintendo cares about Deku Nut. Both feel equally likely. The casual player has literally never heard of this upgrade. It exists in this weird liminal space where the only people who know about it are the exact people fast enough to grab it, and the only documentation comes from glitch databases and speedrunning forums. No official guide has ever mentioned it. Nintendo has never acknowledged it. It's a ghost upgrade haunting a 1998 cartridge. But if you think obscure collectibles are strange, wait until you see what counts as a missable life in the Zelda universe. 1-up dolls. Here's a philosophical question for you. Can you permanently miss something that was always meant to be temporary? Because 1-up dolls across the Zelda franchise would really love an answer. These little collectibles show up in Twilight Princess and a handful of other entries. Each one grants a single extra life. Use it. It's gone. Simple enough, but in Twilight Princess, there are 20 of them scattered across Hyrule, and some are tucked inside caves that seal shut forever once the story moves forward. Miss one before the door closes and it's gone. Not gone until you find another way. Just gone. The game never tells you this is something you should worry about. It just quietly closes the door behind you and hopes you weren't planning on coming back. Some players argue consumable items shouldn't count as true missables since they're designed to disappear anyway. Fair point. But the psychological damage of knowing you can never reach 100% completion because you use a fairy bottle instead of checking one more side room, that very much count. The item is temporary. The regret is permanent. Sunken treasure. And it's not just dolls. Wind Waker has its own flavor of this with sunken treasure. You sail across an enormous ocean, use treasure charts to locate chests on the seafloor, and haul them up one by one. Each chart points to a fixed location, so nothing is randomized, but the game gives you zero centralized tracking for which chests you've already opened. No counter, no checklist, no map marker turning from red to green. You're just sailing, hauling, and hoping you haven't missed one silver rupee chest somewhere between 49 identical islands. That's not a collectible. That's an existential crisis with a sail. But if the uncertainty of ocean treasure bothers you, wait until you hear about the quest that requires perfect timing and a functioning camera. The photo quest. Majora's Mask already feels like playing a video game while someone holds a lighter under your chair. The 3-day time loop means everything you do has a deadline. Everything resets, and the moon is always getting closer. Now imagine someone hands you a camera and says, hey, photograph these specific NPCs and creatures before time runs out. Cool. That's also a thing that happened. The Pictobox side quest is, by veteran consensus, impossible to complete blind. You need to track down and photograph 10 specific characters scattered across Termina for Lenso's apprentice quest, each with their own schedules, locations, and conditions for appearing. Some only show up at specific hours, some only exist on certain days, and because the 72-hour loop resets everything, if you miss a photo window, you're starting that entire cycle over. But here's where it gets genuinely cruel. Creamia's photo requires her to be at a specific location after 8 p.m. on a night when her sister Romani hasn't been abducted by aliens. That condition only triggers under exact story circumstances. If you don't set up the right chain of events beforehand, Creamia simply won't be where she needs to be, and that photo becomes permanently locked out. No amount of resetting the cycle fixes it unless you know the precise sequence going in, which is, not ideal. The rewards aren't cosmetic fluff either. Completing this quest chain nets you a piece of heart and unlocks a stray fairy that grants you a double magic meter. So unlike most missables, where the punishment is a gap in your inventory screen, this one actually costs you real, tangible upgrades that make the rest of the game noticeably easier. Here's the thing, Majora's Mask is a masterpiece of anxiety design, and the photo quest is its final exam. Except nobody gave you the syllabus. But if you think a photography assignment sounds stressful, wait until you hear about the dungeon map you can lose by simply walking out the door. Jabu Jabu Dungeon Map. This one is a masterclass in how to hide something in plain sight, or, more accurately, how to hide something behind enough layers of obscurity that nobody ever finds it on their first playthrough. In Ocarina of Time, Jabu Jabu's belly has a dungeon map. Like every other dungeon in the game, except this one isn't sitting in an obvious chest along the main path. It's tucked inside a side room that most players walk right past because the dungeon never forces you through it. The room blends into the fleshy, identical-looking corridors of a giant fish's digestive system, which is not exactly an environment that encourages thorough exploration, and the game gives you zero indication that you've missed anything. The map was never required to finish the dungeon. You can beat the boss, collect the spiritual stone, and walk out feeling like a champion without ever knowing that room existed. Here's the thing. You can technically go back. As long as you're still Child Link, Jabu Jabu is sitting right there in Zora's fountain, mouth open, ready for round 2. But once you pull the Master Sword and jump forward 7 years, that window slams shut. Jabu Jabu is gone. The dungeon is gone. Your chance to grab that map is gone permanently. The fish has left the building, so you're deep into your adult Link adventure, checking your inventory, and there it is. A permanent gap in your collection staring back at you. Your 100% completion run, dead on arrival. All because of a map you didn't know existed, in a room you never entered, inside a dungeon you can never return to because the entire building swam away or died. The game is honestly a little unclear on that, but if you think a single missed collectible is frustrating, wait until we talk about weapons that can vanish from your inventory entirely. Lynel weapon. Breath of the Wild promised you total freedom. Go anywhere, do anything, fight whatever you want, whenever you want. What it forgot to mention is that this freedom comes with a hidden cost, and that cost is watching your favorite weapon shatter into pieces every 45 seconds like it was made of compressed sand. The durability system is already the most divisive mechanic in modern Zelda. Every weapon breaks, every shield cracked, every bow snapped. You find something incredible, you use it 3 times, and then it's gone. Most players just accept this and move on. But Lynel weapons are different, because Lynel weapons aren't just rare. They're tied to specific enemy tiers, and those tiers matter more than most players realize. Here's how it works. Lynels come in multiple variants: red-maned, blue-maned, white-maned, and silver-maned, with gold-maned showing up in Master Mode. Each tier drops weapon variants exclusive to that tier. The Savage Lynel Crusher, at 78 base damage, hits harder than any other non-ancient Lynel weapon in the entire game. You want it? You need to kill the right Lynel at the right tier, and then actually pick it up before something goes wrong, and things go wrong constantly. Drop a Lynel weapon near lava, gone. Forever. Not respawns at a shop, gone. Not check the lost and found, gone. Dissolved into molten rock and never to return. Your inventory is full when a Lynel dies. That weapon sits on the ground until it despawns into nothing. Players have reported restarting entire save files, hours and hours of progress, because they accidentally lost a single Savage Lynel Crusher and couldn't stomach the grind to recover an identical copy. Let that sink in. A game built entirely around the philosophy of nothing is permanent. Just enjoy the journey accidentally created a weapon economy so stressful that people delete their saves over it, which is, not ideal. But if you think losing a weapon feels bad, wait until you learn about permanently missing a health upgrade in 1986. Heart containers. This is the one that started it all. Before Zelda had side quests, collectible logs, or any kind of tracking system, it had heart containers, and it expected you to find them with 0 help. The original Legend of Zelda from 1986 has 13 heart containers scattered across Hyrule. Collecting all of them raises Link's max health from 3 hearts to 16. That's a massive difference. That's the difference between surviving a hit from Ganon and getting 2-shot in a dungeon you spent 45 minutes navigating. And the game hides them like it genuinely doesn't want you to find them. Some are locked behind secret walls that require bombs to open. No cracks in the wall, no discoloration, no helpful NPC saying, hey, try bombing over there. Just a flat, identical wall tile that looks exactly like every other wall tile in the game. You either bomb every single surface you encounter like a paranoid demolitions expert, or you walk right past permanent health upgrades forever. But here's the one that really defines the era. There's a heart container hidden behind a specific wall in the desert. One wall, in a massive, featureless desert. No visual cue, no audio cue, no nearby landmark, nothing. You have to bomb that exact spot, or you permanently lose a chunk of your maximum health for the entire playthrough. That's not a secret. That's a hostage situation, and the community has debated this for nearly 4 decades. Was this intentionally punitive? Was Miyamoto sitting there thinking, yeah, make them suffer? Or was this just how games worked in 1986? Honestly, it was probably both. The NES era operated on a simple philosophy: figure it out, ask your friends at school, or buy the strategy guide. Preferably the strategy guide. Nintendo had bills to pay. Either way, these were the original permanently missable item, the blueprint for everything that came after. But if you think losing hearts is bad, wait until you see what Breath of the Wild lets you waste on a single arrow type. Ancient arrows. Here's a missable that doesn't work like any of the others on this list. You don't lose an item. You lose the ability to ever afford one. Ancient arrows in Breath of the Wild are purchased from Cherry at the Akali Ancient Tech Lab, and they cost 90 rupees, 2 ancient screws, 1 ancient shaft, and 1 arrow each. They're also arguably the most overpowered consumable in the entire game. Fire one at a non-boss enemy, and that enemy just ceases to exist. No loot drop, no ragdoll, no dramatic death animation, just gone. Deleted from the timeline like they owed somebody money. The problem is ancient materials are finite. Ancient screws, ancient shafts, ancient springs, ancient gears, ancient cores, all of it comes from guardian drops and scattered overworld pickups. And those same materials are what you need to buy and upgrade the ancient armor set, which is basically the only thing standing between you and getting absolutely flattened by guardians in the late game. So here's where it gets complicated. A player who discovers ancient arrows early and starts panic firing them at every guardian they see is burning through the exact resources they need to survive the endgame. Every arrow you fire is an armor upgrade you can't afford. Every disintegrated enemy is a piece of ancient gear that vanished with them because ancient arrows delete loot drops entirely. Speedrunners love ancient arrows for exactly this reason. They skip entire encounters, trivialize combat, and shave minutes off runs. But a casual player doing the same thing without understanding the resource economy can dump their entire ancient material stockpile into arrows and then hit Hyrule Castle with 0 armor upgrades and a prayer. You technically still have access to the shop. You can technically still buy things. You just can't afford any of it, which is, not ideal. The irony is genuinely painful. The most powerful arrow in the game punishes you for using it. Short-term dominance, long-term disaster. But if resource scarcity sounds rough, wait until you hear about the most iconic weapon in the franchise and how Breath of the Wild found a way to make even that missable, the Master Sword. This is the one that stings a little. We're not talking about some obscure figurine or a niche upgrade that only completionists care about. We're talking about the Master Sword, the Blade of Evil's Bane, the single most iconic weapon in the entire Zelda franchise. And in Breath of the Wild, it's locked behind a requirement the game never bothers to clearly explain. Here's how it worked. To pull the Master Sword from its pedestal in the Lost Woods, you need 13 hearts, not stamina, not a combination. 13 full heart containers, no exceptions. That translates to roughly 40 spirit orbs spent specifically on heart upgrades, and the game never once tells you this number. Players who went full stamina build walked up to that pedestal and got absolutely nothing. Just Link grabbing the handle, losing health, and collapsing like he tried to arm wrestle a boulder. Now, technically, you're never permanently locked out. There are 120 shrines in the game, more than enough spirit orbs to eventually hit 13 hearts no matter how you build. You can even visit the Hateno village statue to respect, swapping stamina back into hearts temporarily just to yank the sword out. But here's the thing, the game tells you exactly 0 of this. No NPC hints at the heart requirement, no sign on the pedestal, nothing. So players who didn't look it up online spent entire playthroughs thinking they were somehow unworthy, or worse, that the sword was bugged. And once you do pull it, the fun doesn't stop. The Master Sword runs on a durability system. After enough use, it breaks and goes on a 10-minute cooldown before it regenerates. The Blade of Evil's Bane needs a nap after every major fight. Watching the most legendary weapon in gaming history go dim and useless mid-combat because you swung it one too many times at a Linnell never stops feeling like a personal insult. So no, you can't miss the Master Sword forever, but the game does everything in its power to make you think you can. But if a confusing sword mechanic feels bad, wait until you hear about the arrows that can softlock your entire endgame. The light arrows. Every item on this list so far has cost you something. A figurine, a percentage point. A weapon you really like. Annoying? Sure. Maybe even heartbreaking if you're a completionist. But you could still finish the game. You could still see the credits roll, put the controller down, and move on with your life. The light arrows in Zelda don't give you that luxury. Here's the setup. In Ocarina of Time, after you've cleared every adult dungeon and watched Sheik reveal herself as Zelda, she hands you the light arrows in a cutscene. They're not optional. They're not a bonus. You literally need them to stun Ganondorf during the final boss fight. Without them, you cannot win. Not cannot win, as in it's really hard. Cannot win, as in the fight is mechanically impossible to complete. And here's where it gets ugly. The light arrows aren't sitting in a chest you can go back and grab. They're given to you in a one-time cutscene that fires when specific story flags trigger in the correct order. If you're playing on the original N64 version and your game glitches, if the cutscene with Zelda doesn't fire properly, those arrows are gone. There's no backup method. No failsafe chest hidden in a corner somewhere. No kindly NPC going, hey, you forgot something. The game just lets you walk into Ganon's castle without the one weapon you need to finish it, like a door that locks behind you in a burning building. The community consensus is that this is a design oversight. Nobody at Nintendo sat down and said, yeah, let's punish players by destroying their save file. But intent doesn't matter when the result is the same. You're staring at a boss you can't damage, in a castle you've already committed to, on a save file you can't recover. Dozens of hours gone. Not because you played badly, because the game forgot to give you the one item it requires you to have. Every other entry on this list is a wound. The light arrows are a flatline. You didn't miss a collectible. You missed the ending. And the only fix is starting the entire game over from scratch. So the next time someone tells you missable items are just a completionist problem, remind them that Ocarina of Time can eat an entire playthrough because one cutscene didn't fire. Sleep well. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.